Let us execute an immediate, sweeping analytical vector shift away from the bloodstained stone architecture of fantasy throne rooms, forbidden royal masquerades, and monstrous captive dynamics, and dive directly into the razor-sharp, calculation-heavy tracking grids of contemporary dark mafia romance, weaponized financial extortion frameworks, and the deeply protective world of elite syndicate enforcers. We are crossing the threshold directly into the hyper-monitored luxury penthouses, exclusive underground syndicate nodes, and the lethal analytical parameters of a toxic, obsession-driven contract arrangement with sinners consumed, the exceptional pulse-pounding third structural deployment anchoring the globally dominant, chart-topping Sinners Anonymous trilogy by the absolute undisputed sovereign of elite underworld banter, devastating dark anti-heroes, and high-velocity psychological tension, Somme Sketcher. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroad where a fierce, underestimated con artist asset running a strict survival loop, a powerful, dangerously territorial mafia accountant and syndicate cleaner, and an absolute defense of a partner's personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn contemporary thrillers where a targeted, hyper-observant female protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of underground syndicate politics, forced luxury proximity, and a deadly ring of active administrative or emotional gaslighting while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised corporate or criminal ecosystem, where an analytical mind uses deep research profiling, calculated emotional boundaries, and absolute mental stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory underworld landscape, and where the author utilizes an incandescent enemies to lovers toxic forced proximity diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Sketcher completely dominates the Mafia enforcer meets Defiant con artist dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating institutional paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like J.T. Geisinger, Cora Reilly, Daniel Laurie, and Rena Kent, while treating realistic multinational syndicate logistics, complex personal alignment arcs, and protective underworld tradecraft grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central criminal couple, operating under a severe calculation-heavy handicap of massive law enforcement scrutiny, deep-seated syndicate family rivalries, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the underworld's ruling capos. Behind their rigorous global flight footprints and tense underground ledger logs lies an intricate matrix of hidden financial allegiances, deeply buried personal secrets, and sharp, high-stakes tactical maneuvers. Our central female protagonist, Penny Van's, collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of outrunning exploitation, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from rival syndicates, parsing complex behavioral shifts from her powerful, cold-eyed mafia partner, and shielding her vulnerable personal autonomy nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless corporate or criminal cleanup offensive. The spark ignites when an unexpected high-frequency structural anomaly breaches her active scanning perimeter. Due to a massive financial debt crisis and a complex web of family lies, Penny is forced into a strict, high-stakes contract alliance with the formidable, cold-blooded mafia enforcer and numbers genius, Rafe the Ghost Visconti. To survive a lethal imminent hit order, they are forced to share an exclusive isolated penthouse space, only for a series of suspicious administrative sabotage attempts, targeted syndicate setups, and calculation-heavy urban ambushes to threaten to permanently eliminate them from the family territory roster. The official diagnostic metrics of the underground tracking centers flash white-hot when their joint public operations and defensive movements reveal that their alignment is radically, impossibly altering the syndicate's historical bounds of power. The standard boundaries of routine criminal compliance and peaceful hostage protocols crumble, and our central protagonists run completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. They are thrust directly into an active, invisible war across the city, where deceptive crime families, highly manipulative cartel agents, and a calculation-heavy underground network launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress their survival data stream. The tactical parameters instantly explode as their historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the exclusive high society underworld galas, dark alleyways, and private fortified estate compounds into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our protective mafia protagonist is forced to deploy his massive intuitive tradecraft, environmental mapping skills, and raw emotional stamina to repair his perimeter and earn her true trust before the next syndicate territorial realignment permanently deletes his progress. When deceptive romantic red herrings, corrupted financial ledgers, and calculation-heavy street ambushes launch aggressive plays to delete her path, her survival instincts engage her final deployment tracks. Every midnight digital excavation, every silent choice to stand off against an arrogant family don behind standard security barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the criminal elite's deceptive perimeters completely Unwrapped at Sketcher reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving an initial setup or managing a forced relationship. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and underworld supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective web of absolute loyalty around their union, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthrough shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending locked grid trap and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient heroine must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a dark contemporary romance, mafia enforcer suspense, crime syndicate family drama, high-velocity contemporary underworld noir masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one-whispered confession triggers a fatal penthouse showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active franchise tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes warehouse confrontation, or a heavy possessive realization that an elite mafia cleaner has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Sketcher writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, capturing the cold, metallic rack of a weapon, the oppressive, heavy atmosphere of a private counting vault before a major syndicate takeover, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished mahogany, expensive cologne, fine crystal whiskey, rain-slick city streets, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this third installment into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes syndicate dynamics and genuine romantic power tradecraft alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic, modern corporate and criminal underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute, jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total, hard-earned advancement to their horizon. Sinners Consumed is the definitive, pro-level upgrade your high-stakes contemporary dark romance and contemporary mafia suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputtable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the syndicate.